My name is Amelia. I am 53 years old. Many years ago, I worked for a very rich family. Their house was very big and full of beautiful things. There were many rooms, long hallways, and large windows that let in bright sunlight every morning. Outside, there was a wide garden with green grass, flowers of many colors, and tall trees that moved gently in the wind. Inside the house, everything looked clean and perfect. The chairs were soft and the floors shined like glass. Every day, I cleaned the rooms, washed the floors, and helped in the kitchen. I worked from morning until evening, but I did not feel tired because I liked my job. The family had 3 people. Darren was the father. He was a serious man who spoke very little. Elizabeth was the mother. She cared a lot about her home and her things. Roger was their little boy. He was kind, cheerful, and always full of energy. He often followed me around and talked to me while I worked. Sometimes he gave me small flowers from the garden, and those moments made me smile. I felt safe in that house. I believed I would stay there for many years. I thought I had found a place where I belonged. The family had many expensive things. There were gold lamps that shined in the evening, silver plates kept in glass cabinets, and old paintings hanging on the walls. Elizabeth loved jewelry very much. She had many rings, necklaces, and watches. She always looked elegant and proud when she wore them. But there was one gold watch she loved the most. She wore it every single day and never left it far from her. I noticed how carefully she handled it. I understood that it was very special to her. Because of that, I was always extra careful when I cleaned her room. I never touched her things unless it was necessary. I respected her space and trusted her trust in me. Then one morning, everything changed. Elizabeth could not find her gold watch. At first, she looked calm, but soon she became worried. She searched her room again and again. She opened drawers, looked under the bed, and checked every corner. When she could not find it, she went to the kitchen and then to the garden. Her movements became faster, and her face showed fear. She asked Darren if he had seen it. He said no. She asked little Roger, but he shook his head. Then she came to me. Her eyes were sharp as she asked if I had seen the watch. I told her honestly that I had not seen it. I explained that I had cleaned her room carefully like always. She did not say anything for a moment. She just looked at me. That look made me feel cold inside. It was not a look of trust anymore. That afternoon, Darren called me into the living room. His voice was serious and heavy. Elizabeth stood next to him, and Roger stayed close behind her. The room felt quiet and tense. Darren spoke slowly. He said they could not find the watch anywhere. He said they had trusted me before, but now they were not sure what to believe. His words felt like sharp stones hitting my heart. I tried to explain again. I told them I would never take anything from them. But my voice was weak, and my words did not seem strong enough. Before I could say more, Darren told me I had to leave the house. He said I must go immediately and not return. Elizabeth did not look at me. Roger stayed silent, holding his mother's dress. In that moment, I felt my world break. I went to my small room and packed my few things. My hands were shaking and my heart felt heavy. I wanted to cry loudly, but no tears came out. I felt empty. When I stepped outside the house, the air felt colder than before. I stood there for a moment, looking at the place that had been my home. Then I walked away. I sat on the street with my bag beside me. People walked past, busy with their own lives. No one stopped. No one asked if I was okay. I thought about the house, the warm kitchen, and Roger's laughter. I remembered the days when I felt happy and safe. Now everything was gone. I could not understand why they believed I was a thief. I had always been honest. I had worked hard every day. I had cared for their home like it was my own. But one missing watch had changed everything. The day slowly turned into night. The sky became dark, and the streets grew quiet. I stayed there, not knowing where to go. I had no home and no family in the city. My bag had only a few clothes and a few coins. Finally, I stood up and began to walk. My legs felt heavy and my body was tired. After some time, I found a small bench near a park. It was not comfortable, but I had no other choice. I sat down and closed my eyes. I tried to sleep, but my thoughts would not stop. I kept remembering the house and the moment they asked me to leave. I missed my small room. I missed feeling safe. The next morning, I woke up early. My back hurt and my body felt stiff. My clothes were dirty and my hair was messy. I walked to a small cafe and used my last coins to buy a piece of bread. The woman at the counter looked at me without kindness. Her eyes showed no care. I sat quietly near the window and ate slowly. After that, I went to the market to look for work. I asked many people if they needed help. Some said no. Some ignored me completely. One man told me to go away as if I was a problem. Each word hurt, but I stayed strong. I did not let myself cry. I walked all day, but I found nothing. That evening, I returned to the park and sat on the same bench. I felt tired, hungry, and alone. I thought about my past. I wondered if the family missed me at all. I wondered if Roger still thought about me. Maybe they had already forgotten me. Suddenly, I heard someone calling my name. I looked up and saw Elizabeth running toward me. Her face was red and she looked out of breath. In her hand, she held something small and shining. My heart began to beat very fast. She came closer and opened her hand. The gold watch was there. It had not been stolen. It had fallen behind a big chair in the living room, and they found it when they moved the furniture. Elizabeth's eyes were full of tears as she spoke. She said she was very sorry. She said they had made a mistake. I looked at the watch and then at her. I felt relief, but also deep pain. She asked me to come back. She said they missed me. She said Roger cried for me every night. But my heart was not ready to forgive so quickly. I remembered the cold voices, the doubt in their eyes, and the night I spent alone on the bench. Trust, once broken, is very hard to repair. Elizabeth kept speaking. She promised that they would never doubt me again. She said Darren also felt very sorry. I listened quietly. Then I slowly shook my head. I picked up my bag and walked away. I heard her call my name, but I did not turn back. I needed a new beginning. As I walked, I saw a small bakery. Warm light came from inside, and the smell of fresh bread filled the air. A woman inside was placing bread into baskets. She looked kind. I stood there for a moment, then opened the door. She smiled at me gently. I asked if she needed help. I told her I could clean and work hard. Her name was Sophia. She owned the bakery with her husband, Andrew. She looked at me carefully for a moment. Then she said I could work there. The pay was small, but I would get food and a place to sleep. Tears filled my eyes, but I quickly looked down and thanked her. She showed me a small room behind the bakery. It was simple, with a bed, a table, and a small window. But it felt warm and safe. That night, I slept deeply. The next morning, I worked with all my strength. I cleaned the floors, washed the tables, and helped with small tasks. Sophia smiled when she saw my work. Andrew also smiled and gave me fresh bread. They treated me with kindness and respect. Days passed, and slowly, I began to feel happy again. I smiled more. I felt stronger. One day, while cleaning the window, I saw Roger across the street. He held his mother's hand. He saw me and waved. Elizabeth stood beside him and gave me a small, sad smile. I watched them quietly as they walked away. I did not run after them. I stayed where I was and continued my work. Time passed, and one day I received a letter. It was from Elizabeth. She wrote about missing me and asked if I could visit. I thought about it for a long time. That night, Sophia told me softly, "Follow your heart." The next morning, I decided to go. When I reached the big house, my heart was beating fast. I stood outside for a long time before ringing the bell. Elizabeth opened the door. Roger ran to me and hugged me tightly. Tears filled my eyes. Elizabeth said sorry again and again. This time, I listened calmly. We sat in the garden and drank tea. Roger laughed and showed me his toys. It felt strange but peaceful. When the sun began to set, I stood up to leave. Elizabeth asked me to stay, but I said no. I had a new home now. I hugged Roger and said goodbye. As I walked back, I felt something new inside me. I had lost many things, but I had also found something more important. I had found strength. I had found kindness. And I had found a new beginning. Sometimes losing something helps us understand what truly matters in life.